The Wood Beyond the World. Chapter 32. Of the new king of the city and land of Starkwall. When he awoke again, the sun was shining brightly into that chamber, and he looked, and beheld that it was peerless of beauty and riches, amongst all that he had ever seen. The ceiling done with gold and oversea blue, the walls hung with arras of the fairest, though he might not tell what was the history done therein. The chairs and stools were of carven work well bepainted, and amidmost was a great ivory chair under a cloth of estate, of bawdekin of gold and green, much bepearled, and all the floor was of fine work Alexandrine. He looked on all this, wondering what had befallen him, when lo! There came folk into the chamber, to wit, 2 serving men well bedight, and 3 old men clad in rich gowns of silk. These came to him and, still by signs, without speech, bade him arise and come with them, and when he bade them look to it that he was naked, and laughed doubtfully, they neither laughed in answer, nor offered him any raiment, but still would have him arise, and he did so perforce. They brought him with them out of the chamber, and through certain passages pillared and goodly, till they came to a bath as fair as any might be, and there the serving men washed him carefully and tenderly, the old men looking on the while. When it was done, still they offered not to clothe him, but led him out, and through the passages again back to the chamber. Only this time he must pass between a double hedge of men, some weaponed, some in peaceful array, but all clad gloriously, and full chieftain-like of aspect, either for valiancy or wisdom. In the chamber itself was now a concourse of men, of great estate by deeming of their array, but all these were standing orderly in a ring about the ivory chair aforesaid. Now said Walter to himself, surely all this looks toward the knife and the altar for me. But he kept a stout countenance despite of all. So they led him up to the ivory chair, and he beheld on either side thereof a bench, and on each was laid a set of raiment from the shirt upwards. But there was much diversity betwixt these arrays. For one was all of robes of peace, glorious and begemmed, unmeet for any save a great king, while the other was war-weed, seemly, well-fashioned, but little adorned, nay rather worn and bestained with weather, and the pelting of the spear-storm. Now those old men signed to Walter to take which of those raiments he would, and do it on. He looked to the right and the left, and when he had looked on the war-gear, the heart arose in him, and he called to mind the array of the Goldings in the forefront of battle, and he made one step toward the weapons and laid his hand thereon. Then ran a glad murmur through that concourse, and the old men drew up to him smiling and joyous, and helped him to do them on, and as he took up the helm, he noted that over its broad brown iron sat a golden crown. So when he was clad and weaponed, girt with a sword, and a steel axe in his hand, the elders showed him to the ivory throne, and he laid the axe on the arm of the chair, and drew forth the sword from the scabbard, and sat him down, and laid the ancient blade across his knees. Then he looked about on those great men and spake, how long shall we speak no word to each other, or is it so that God hath stricken you dumb? Then all they cried out with one voice, all hail to the king of battle. Spake Walter, if I be king, will ye do my will as I bid you? Answered the elder, not have we will to do, Lord, save as thou biddest. Said Walter, thou then, wilt thou answer a question in all truth? Yea, Lord, said the elder, if I may live afterward. Then said Walter, the woman that came with me into your camp of the mountain, what hath befallen her? The elder answered, naught hath befallen her, either of good or evil, save that she hath slept and eaten and bathed her. What, then, is the king's pleasure concerning her? That ye bring her hither to me straightway, said Walter. Yea, said the elder. And in what guise shall we bring her hither? Shall she be arrayed as a servant, or a great lady? Then Walter pondered a while and spake at last, ask her what is her will herein, and as she will have it, so let it be. But set ye another chair beside mine, and lead her thereto. Thou wise old man, send 1 or 2 to bring her in hither, but abide thou, for I have a question or 2 to ask of thee yet. And ye, lords, abide here the coming of my she-fellow, if it weary you not. So the elder spake to 3 of the most honorable of the lords, and they went their ways to bring in the maid.